What's up, guys? Wow Swag here. Just coming out with a video because I have heard this all over YouTube. I've heard this all over, different things. With the release of Galactic Overlord, Overload. I don't know what to call it. Overload, whatever. The same thing here and there. Because people are really wondering. Well, we got a tuner in that influence dragon. It's a tuner. And people are like, oh, so synchros aren't dead. They're going to make more synchros. Well, yes, they are making more synchros because of Lavals. But I don't know if synchros will see much play anymore. After looking over some of the new cards for things like injectors, I started to realize, well, yeah, there's synchro potential there. But why would you synchro when you could exceed into something huge or with a better effect for the deck? The newer decks, as we can probably see, like Dino Rabbit, Injectors, Windups, they're not meant to synchro summon. They're not manufactured to synchro summon at all. Synchro summoning would actually, in most times, hinder your ability to do what your deck does. For example, the one card that I thought of that was kind of interesting that opened up plays for not only Exceeds, but also Synchros, is Beatron. Because Beatron can special summon an insect level 4 or lower from your graveyard, and he himself is level 4, you could get another level, you could get a level 3, and then maybe bounce that level 3 an insect to your hand to get a Birdman, and then Synchro 7. Or you could bounce this, the Beatron, to use again, and get a level 3 tuner to Synchro level 6. Now, the only issue is that Beatron needs to combo with things to do that, so you're actually negging yourself more than anything else if you do that. Because you have to combo off this, yeah, you are replacing either with Special Summon or the Search, unless it's a dead trap you're removing. It's very difficult to actually say, yeah, I'm just going to go for that Synchro Summon. Well, why would you? There's no point. So that's what I just thought of. I thought that was an interesting thing, but I just can't see Beatron being used for Synchro Summoning. The next thing that people have talking about would be Effect Veiler. Now, people are running Effect Veiler main deck, so decks that don't get affected by it, like TG Stun, Malefics, Heroes for other than Stratos, things like that, they don't care. So what do you do with your dead Effect Veilers that first game? Well, there's always the option of summoning it. So you can set it and let it get run over, or if you have field presence, let's say you have a safe zoned Dragonfly. Doing your loop, you blow up 2 cards on their side of the field, you get a 6, you have 2 level 3s on the field, unless this one of them is equipped with a Hornet or whatever, and then it's level 6, and you can just blow something up. But you're probably gonna blow something up. So you have those 2 weak level 3s. Now most people are like, oh well, I can go into Zenmanes, or I can go into Leviathan, or I can go to Acid Golem, or Leviair, or any super duper rank 3 that we have. The other option would be summoning this, playing Effect Veiler, and then going, okay, Synchro all 3, and getting Black Rose or Ancient Fairy Dragon. Ancient Fairy Dragon being a huge wall that a lot of decks have trouble getting over, and plus it's just too good against Dark Worlds. It's like, or even some Malefics. It's like, oh, pop, yay, and then you get stuff. But anyways, that's another thing. So people are like, okay, what do you do with your dead Veilers? You Synchro. So a few people will put like 1 or 2 Synchros in their extra decks. The other thing would be Ladybug. Ladybug allows you to increase the level of the injectors you use it with by 1 or 2. So you can exceed rank 4, or rank 5, or rank 6 if you use Hopper. And there are some really powerful rank 6s now, like Bouncer and Exabeetle and things like that. Things that are just horrible for your opponent to deal with. They don't want to deal with them because they're that good. Because how likely is it you're going to rank 6s, right? Oh, fuck that. Rank 6s? Oh, whatever. So, but you could also use this on your loop, then bounce the Dragonfly or the Centipede, get this, and Synchro level 8, with the the remaining Insector. So with that remaining Insector, you can make things like Scrap Dragon or whatever. You've already gotten your plus off of that, but now Scrap Dragon is either left with you destroying something else on your field randomly, like a face down trap or something like that, or just sitting there with a 2000 beat stick, which you could have gone for Acid Golem or Adrius, and Adrius is like Scrap Dragon with less attack, and you don't destroy something on your side of the field. Scrap Dragon was used because it was the only thing of its time. Now we have things like Adrius and Tyrus that are just like, wow, that's just... I would rather have that than have, a Synchro. Synchros also put things in the graveyard where they're, okay, my D-Fissures now... If I Synchro, my D-Fissure now is going to kill my Insectors that I'm using to Synchro. That's a bad thing. If you XYZ, that D-Fissure that you have in your deck no longer affects those materials, making it just such a better thing to use. So I think in the newer decks that we're going to see that are topping, and things like that, once again, other than Lavels and probably a few other things, smaller things like maybe TG Stun would Synchro a little bit, but not very much, and so on. Some of those rogue decks, we're not going to see Synchroing all that often because you have the option to, but it hurts you more than it actually helps you. It can go, a lot of it goes against your own strategy, and then you're going to lose because of it. Now, yes, some people will Synchro to, Brionac. Brionac itself, I wouldn't be surprised if it got banned. Even though we're not in a Synchro format, it's still a broken card. Like, it's ridiculous. And the ability to make it now just got a lot easier in Insectors, for example. As I said with Ladybug. Brionac will probably be a staple again in Insectors, I would think. Because what do you do with those dead cards, right? So that's just my opinion. I think we're going to see a drop in a lot of Synchro prices. Scrap Dragon, Black Rose, Ancient Fairy, Stardust, a lot of those things, other than their Ghost rare forms and probably Ultimate rare forms, obviously. But other than Hyper Librarian and Shooting Quasar and other Synchros that were specially released, they're still going to retain value because you can't find them. So that's just my thoughts on synchroing and consistency. Synchroing and XYZing and with the newer cards that have been released that people need to really think about. And I think that synchros are on their way to not obscurity, but to about the same point that fusions are. Fusions are only used in a few decks, and I think that's what's going to happen to synchros. They're only going to be used in a few decks because XYZs are just, they've gotten so good so fast. It's quite ridiculous, I think, in terms of just seeing the game advance from literally when they got released. Generation 4 is like, boom! Here you go. Here's some good cards. And then they get Photon Shockwave, and it's like, holy crap! Dinosaurs are good with the Dino Rabbits. And then, of course, Order of Chaos brings out even the wind-ups and things like that. It's like, oh, jeez. And then, of course, now with Galactic Overlord, we just see even more broken synchros and things like that. Or broken XYZs. And I think it's just going to keep continuing like that. Although, like, Heroic Champion, it's so good. Like, would you rather have that or Red Dragon Archfiend? Like, really. That's just my thoughts. Please comment about what you think. It is a topic that people have really been talking about. But I definitely think that synchros are on their way to being the new fusions, quote unquote. From when the synchros were big, fusions weren't really seen, other than a few decks. I think that's what's going to happen to synchros, because of the new stuff. Obviously, a lot of the new decks are all XYZ based, anyways. So let me know what you think. Thank you for watching and subscribe.